Hi everyone, it's Shelly. I am going to log into the MLS today, which is called Matrix, and I'm just going to show you a couple of quick tips. So I definitely recommend that you attend the HIR training. When you join the MLS, they'll have an HIR orientation that you have to attend, and it will teach you some of the ins and outs of the MLS and different things like that. So when you get to HIR.com, you're going to first want to log in. Make sure that you log in as a Realtor Pro and not a consumer. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go to Realtor/Pro login. Make sure that you've actually joined the MLS and you have a login. So once you get logged in here, we're going to go and hit MLS, and we're going to go to Matrix MLS. This is what the MLS screen looks like. So there are a lot of different things that you can do here. This is like the back door to the MLS that us agents use to research anything, to put new listings up, do open houses, things like that. So let's start over here on our tabs. So all of these tabs here, play around with them. Your listings, your information, any CMAs that you've run, those will all be there. Your transactions here, you can click and it will take you to a new screen. Accept. Okay, so this is your agent dashboard here. You can work from here. I personally do not. Add edit here. This tab is really important. This tab is going to allow you to add new listings and edit listings. So if I wanted to add a new one, I would click here. If I wanted to edit an existing listing, I'd click here. So let's just go into one of them really quickly. So this one's active on the market, and you can see all the different options that I have here. So add, edit, change the price, add an open house, change to option pending, all of that. This is where you add your photos and everything. The search tool is an amazing tool, very important. Let's go to search single family. This is probably going to be the one that you use the most. So if I want to look for an active transaction, or say I want to look up a listing that had been terminated, expired, withdrawn, or sold. So I want to look up all of the history on a property, anything that's happened to it. This is all dates here in this area. So just go ahead and delete those. 0 to 180 means from today until 180 days back. So it's really going to limit your search if you do that. Let's say I want to look up everything on Sydney Creek Drive. That was my old street. So I want to look at everything that's sold, expired, terminated, withdrawn. If you type in drive here, it might limit your search. So let's just do Sydney Creek. And you could tell that it changed when I added drive. It changed it only to 1. So you can tell how much that limits your search. So we've got 12 matches here. If I want to search based on square footage, any of that, or just a specific subdivision, I could do that here as well. And then once you hit results, it's going to pull everything up here. This is going to help me when I'm pricing a property, when I want to look at the history and see how long things have been on the market, etc., etc. S's are solds, X's are expired, T's are terminated. Okay, so if I want to look here at this property, I'm going to click on the MLS number here, and it's going to pull up all the information. So this is going to give you your agent full report, and it will tell you everything you need to know. You want to find out how much it sold for, you're going to go all the way to the bottom here, and you're going to look here. So it will tell you the actual sales price here. So it initially was listed at the top. Original price was $260, it was reduced to $245, and then we can go down here and we can see it was sold for $239,995. We can tell when it closed, how long it was under contract. We can look at the loan type here, and we can also look at the price per square foot. Now, very important when you're pricing properties as well, to look here at seller contribution costs, etc. If the seller contributed towards their closing costs, they could have inflated the sales price and maybe given them $10,000 here in closing costs. So that's important to note as well. When you're looking at these agent sheets, all of these information, these sections will give you good information. If you need to find out what the HOA is, mandatory HOA here. There's a transfer fee or a cap fund fee that will be listed here. What were the taxes on that property? You can look at the tax rate. You can see it carried a homestead exemption here, and you can also see what the taxes were. So these sheets here really do give you really good information, and then we can scroll through them all. If I'm just browsing everything that's happened on my street, I can see how much this one here sold for. I can also look through the pictures here. So you can do searches of any kind here within single family. Now, if you're looking, downtown and it's a townhouse or a condo, look here. Sometimes agents will still put them under single family. I don't know why, but if you're not finding it under townhouse condo, search under single family, see if you can find it. Lots, raw land. Multifamily are going to be like, 2+ units in one building. Country homes and acreage. And then you also have rental searches here. So we can look up rentals, in a specific subdivision, see how long they've been on the market, how much they leased for, all of that information you can find there. Now, public records. This is a really good area here. It's really going to help you a lot. You can open up the realist tax information on a property. If you need to find the tax ID number, if you need to find out the owner's name, you can click here. All of this is going to, I guess I have to download the new Adobe Flash Player, so I'll do that at another time. But, you could also go to hcad.com. Let me show you what that looks like. So if you're looking for tax district information, you can pull that on Realist. If it's in Harris County, you can go here to Property Search, Real Property, and you can search by address. Okay, this will pull up the same information that you're going to find on Realist. So if I want to do Sydney Creek again, because that's my old house, I'm going to just pull that one up. Easy address to remember. It will pull up the owner's information. It will pull up the legal description here. And really important, when you look at the taxes here, it will tell us that it's in HC MUD 434. So this property is in a MUD district. Good to know. It also tells me the land square footage. It tells me the total living space square footage. And this tax number here, this account number, is really important when you're putting that new listing in, because if you copy and paste that, it's going to automatically upload everything that's reported on the tax district. So, good to know. So when you're in public records here, either Realist, or you could go to MCAD, Montgomery County, Richmond, gosh, what is that county down there? Anyway, Harris County, Galveston County, all of those are counties that you'll likely work in. MUD bond information here is good too. When you're filling out that MUD information, when we looked up on the tax roll, we saw it was HC MUD 434. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find HC MUD 434. And when I'm filling in my MUD disclosure, this is where I find that information. Okay, so all of this information here is going to get plugged into your MUD disclosure. So it's going to tell you the tax rate, the year, the bonds that are authorized, and bonds that have been issued in that MUD district. Great little area for you there. So that's in public records. If we go over here to finance, this is another tab that you're going to use a lot. Seller's net sheet. Now, remember, if you're sharing a net sheet with a seller, be sure that you tell them this is just an estimate, okay? It's based off of what you think an offer might come in on. This is also a really good exercise to do if you think that your seller may be upside down on their house. Don't forget, it's not just their payoff, okay? So if they're selling for $230 and their payoff is $225, you better be having a conversation with them up front, letting them know that they're likely going to be upside down and have to bring cash to the table. So you have to calculate in your commissions. You need to calculate in title policy. you need to calculate in any closing costs that a buyer may want them to pay for. You should also calculate in interest. So if the seller has owned the house from January 1st to June 15th, they have to pay those taxes up front at the closing table. So that could mean more cash out of their pocket if they only have a little bit of equity in their home. Now, they will get their escrow account back credited to them, but that typically happens within 30 to 60 days after they close. And again, they have to pay those funds up front to the buyer on the closing disclosure at the closing table. So make sure that you're having that conversation with them and they're not surprised, 48 hours before they go to close that they owe $10,000. So you can plug in all their information here. Have Lexi or I go over this with you the first time that you do it, because fees and things like that do vary. But this is where you're going to put your client's payoff information, their interest rate, commission, typically 6%. If they have a second mortgage, if they have a pool or they did updates, then you're going to come down here and plug in their property taxes. It's going to prorate the taxes for you automatically based on the closing date that you put in here. And then when you come down here, you can add in any seller paid closing costs. Seller doesn't pay for inspections. They don't pay for a lender's inspection fee, so all that can be zeroed out. They could be paying for an HOA transfer fee. They are definitely paying for a recording fee. They are most likely going to pay for a home warranty policy, probably not a flood certificate, probably an attorney doc fee. So all of those fees and things can really add up, and you want to make sure you get those as accurate as possible. So once you hit calculate, it's going to shoot out a net sheet to you that you can email over to your clients so they can know what to expect. This is also good for them to have if you are selling their house and then helping them buy another, so they know about how much cash they're going to have on hand. Again, this is just an estimate, and it can change at any time. Okay. Buyer's closing costs is another one that you can do, and you can do a loan calculator amortization schedule here. Now, I don't like to dabble in the lender's job. So if they have questions about monthly payment or things like that, I always refer them back to their lender and ask for their lender to send them an estimate. But you can see here that Matrix is going to be one of your biggest tools to find information, to research things, to put in new listings, everything. Okay, some other things that you could do on the MLS would be CMAs. So when you're pricing a property and you need to find out how to price it, you should be running the comps. Now that's a whole nother video to do and probably an in-person training, so we won't get into that today, but this is just a brief overview of the MLS. Be sure that you go and you take the HAR orientation, as it will be much more in-depth. Thanks everyone.